What is going on, everyone? My name's Boit, and I'm back with some more Age Mythology. The Titans action spawning in the top of the map in the blue color, playing as Ra. His name is Kimo. His opponent today in the red color, playing as Isis. His name is Joe. The map is Tundra. And these guys are both ranked 1 and 2, I believe, on the ladder, respectively. So you might just wonder, is this going to be a good game? Probably. Probably will be a good game. We got Isis, we got Ra. That often does indicate action from timing attacks from the Isis player. There's not a lot of ways for the Isis player to compete in the late game, but there's not a lot of ways for the Ra player to defend against Isis's Ancestors Eclipse timing pushes. So we'll see what Joe's going to try and do in this game, how he's going to try and punish Kimo. There are some kind of wild Bast ideas where if you go Bast and Thoth, you can kind of compete economically in the late game, funnily enough, because you get that extra 10% on all of your resources, whereas your opponent is not getting that. They normally put their Pharaoh over on the market. The extra 10% plus the Bast 10% on your farms, for example, means your farming gather rate is roughly equal to the Ra player in the late game. So and then also you get extra gold gather rate, extra wood gather rate, all that stuff kind of equals out that economy situation that's going on for the Ra if you go Thoth. And then you also have access to elephants, which aren't really what you want to be using because of mercenary and stuff. You kind of want to go spearman. Things get a bit tough for you if your opponent goes Horus, because then they have access to the Thoth spears. But, you know, they might go for Osiris, and then if you can kill off their mummies, you can get some cheeky elephant raids going in. So there is a lot of options late game. But right now, what we're seeing from Kimo seems to be a very fast classical age. He's currently got his Pharaoh on the mining camp, wanting to get the gold to get his temple out, and he wants to advance to the next age very, very fast. Unfortunately for Kimo, he doesn't have any good town centers. And what I mean by a good town center is a town center with close hunt. So this town center doesn't have close hunt. This town center doesn't have close hunt. So what Kimo might want to do is he might farm on the second town center, or he might want to stay one town center here and see what else he can do. Now, Joe, on the other hand, Joe's got himself already on the wood line. He's already on the gold. I don't see a temple just yet for Joe. He's throwing up his first monument. Oftentimes we see Isis players wanting to go double monument in the Archaic Age in order to get as much favor as they can for the Scorpion men. However, I actually think that the right way to play this matchup, maybe a little bit, maybe not the right way, maybe a little bit of an offbeat way to play this matchup, which if you feel like you can't hit an Ancestor's timing attack, this is the way. What you actually want to do is you still start with a double monument, but you're going to go through Hathor. And the idea of going through Hathor is that you get access to Pitsukos with prosperity, which means you can spam those Pitsukos, and then you do a Siege Tower Pitsukos Chariot Archer push with Locust. So that way his villagers can't kill your Siege Towers. The Pitsukos will be able to deal with anything, and the Chariot Archers deal with the priests. That's the idea. Very, very strong, very hard for the Ra player to actually deal with that. So we'll see what Joe's going to be going for. And I mean, the other thing that you can also add in onto that is you Locust and then you Eclipse, and it's very, very strong. There's a lot of possibilities there. You could also go for Anubis to get access to the faster Father gather rate on your monuments, but I don't think it's that great from memory. I think it's only 10%. Yeah, it's only 10% on Vubli. On Extended Edition, it's 30%. So if you guys are playing Extended Edition, definitely think about going Anubis for Necropolis a little bit. It's basically worth one extra monument. If you have two. Or three, one of the two. Anyways, there's the Ptah for Kimo. It is a very fast advance time for Kimo. And it doesn't look like we are seeing, or it doesn't look like we're seeing a fast second town center at all here from Kimo. Maybe he's going to grab it, but just a little bit later. He seems to have not really done this opening quite crisp enough, which is a bit surprising considering he did have 4 Aurochs. So you can actually get It is looking like he's going for a town center. He's going for his forward town center. So this is a little bit late. It's a little bit weird, but it's going to probably work out. The Pharaoh is moving forward here for Kimo, just checking around what's happening. Sees the priest of Joe. And Joe is not advancing just yet. We do have the prosperity coming in. So maybe Joe here is going for a fast 3 town centers, which is not actually a bad idea at all. You do get the boom. It's totally fine. We are actually seeing Joe now going to jump over onto these Aurochs, try and make sure that he can get as much food as he possibly wants. These villagers are going to come over and chuck this town center up, and then we'll have villagers putting this town center up. So fast 3 town center here. Not actually too crazy from Joe. Kimo's gone for a fast advance time into a fast 2nd town center. So this is actually a really, really good reaction. I don't know if it's a reaction from Joe, but it's a good reaction against the very fast 2 town center Ra. If the Ra player goes for the fast rain and you do this, you're actually in a lot of trouble because they've got a lot of resources to play with and they're probably going to be able to get to the 2nd age very, very fast. We do see a shifting stance here from Kimo to bring that Pharaoh into his base. So the Sphinx going to waddle away, very happy to do that. And this might actually be stopped here. In fact, it is being stopped as Kimo's pushing forward with his villagers. He says, not on my watch. I will not allow you to get this town center. And that's actually huge because now what can Joe do? He can stay 2 town centers and try and get to the next age. That works. He's going to lose that town center, go up to about 400 or up to 500 gold. So he doesn't actually need to have anyone on gold. So he can get a very fast heroic age here. But he's going to be hurting quite a lot. And we do see Kimo now throwing down some walls here. What is Kimo doing on his side of the map? He's getting his monument up. He's starting to go on to wood here. So looking to get Shadoof, I would guess. He has a ton of food left. So generally speaking, the aim here from Ra, if you got this much hunt, is to get to the heroic age without casting rain. That is what you want. So we'll see if that's what Kimo's going to go for. He's chucking up his monument to the villagers. And now these walls are almost up. The priests are out. He doesn't have his own priest to really fight this off. And it's looking like Joe is dead set on getting his town center. He's sending villagers forward to break this down. And Joe is trying to get this. But, I mean, again, there's a Wadjet here. There's a Pharaoh here. You can push through this and fight this. But I don't think he's got the resources to get the town center, let alone anything else. Is he getting an armory up anywhere? It doesn't look like he's actually throwing up his armory. There it goes. So it's going to be a very late heroic age here for Joe, because if he does get this armory up in advance, just when the armory gets up, has the resources, it's going to be 9 minutes. So still a late 2 town center advance time. I'm pretty sure you can get an 8-minute one if you have cast prosperity, or maybe even faster. Kimo, on the other hand here, he's just plugging away. Only 2 villagers on gold, so he's going to be a little bit behind on that. We do see the Sphinx here getting targeted down, but the Pharaoh will possibly lose his life. No, the Pharaoh is going to get away with 4 HP. I tell a lie. Joe's going to say no. He's trying to chase this one down. The Sphinx might sacrifice his life here to snipe this Pharaoh, though. It's going to be very, very close. Pharaoh does manage to get away there. 24 HP. Needs to stay away from the town center. These priests going to do a lot of damage, try and heal up that Sphinx here. Just bring 1 priest back, leave the other 4 priests forward, and then try and harass this priest first is generally the idea. But the villagers get pulled off of the food going after these priests. More priests coming in for Joe as he is trying to get as much damage as he possibly can onto Kimo's economy. But Kimo is dead set on simply just chasing these priests as far away as he possibly can. There's 9 priests here, and we will see a villager pick. Not quite 2 HP left. There's Joe's Pharaoh coming in, going to be doing a bunch of damage to these villagers. There's 1 villager kill, going after another one here. Kimo almost able to click up to the next age. Joe has the resources to advance, but not yet the armory. So it will be a 9-minute 30 heroic age for Joe. Kimo, on the other hand, is hurting a lot. He's getting pushed off of this food here. Kimo's got 1,100 food in the bank. Not enough gold to advance. No armory just yet, but the armory is on the way. And the question here is, what does Joe do? Joe doesn't have prosperity. He does have eclipse. He's got 27 favor in the bank. He's going Nephthys. It's not too much of a surprise to see this here from Joe. And where's Kimo going? Kimo's going to the corner of the map. He's going after this gold mine. It's a nice gold mine for him. The question is, does Joe know about it? And Joe does not know that there's a gold mine there at all. He's getting himself that 3rd town center finally here. I think that actually Joe's best bet here would be to not get this town center, throw up a Migdol stronghold, use some of that extra food he's got in the bank to make a couple of elephants, then everything over onto wood, Chariot Archer Siege, and go here with Ancestors Eclipse. You can kill this town center very easily and go for a gold staff. I reckon that would be his best bet. But this third town center, he does have some food here that he can use. It will be a very strong situation or map position for him to have for this at this point. And we'll see if he's going to be able to use it to his advantage or not. Because Kimo right now, he is a full minute and 10 seconds behind on the heroic age to Joe, who's now 3 town centers on the way to the next age. He's picking off villages here very, very nicely. Kimo's 56 population. Joe is 66 population. And there's the Migdol stronghold. No, there's the siege works coming down first for Joe. Wants to get those siege towers pumping first. I don't hate that at all, but the problem here for Joe is he's currently got 0 food in the bank. He does have a ton of goats left, so these villagers can move over here, but if Joe's got 3 town centers, he's going to need to have at least 12 villagers on hunt. On goats, you're probably looking at more like 13, 14, 15 villagers in order to keep that villager production going. And there's the siege works. There's the Migdol stronghold. The problem here for Joe is Kimo might be able to see this. He doesn't see this, but Kimo might be able to get a locust onto this if he gets up fast enough and does spot it. Kimo is moving his villagers into position to chuck up a Migdol stronghold and avoid the Sphinx Scorpion Men shenanigans over here. And Joe is just about to get this one up. He does get it up. Siege tower coming through into the siege works here as Hathor does pop and Kimo does get his third town center, but Joe's now got himself 1,000 gold in the bank, and he hasn't thrown his market down yet. At this point, that 1,000 gold is worth a lot because you can buy food, you can buy wood, but without the market, it's just sitting there unused. So this is slowing down Joe's potential timing here a lot. And now we see siege works coming in over here, as well as a Migdol stronghold. The wall's coming up for Kimo as well, making sure he's not going to be able to get raided. The rock is starting to fly around, looking for something to take out here. And we'll see how this is going to go as the siege towers are now moving in. And a preemptive Ancestors Eclipse here, possibly to dodge the rain. But I do not think that this is actually all that necessary here. With that Chariot Archers and everything else, I think this is maybe a bit of an overkill. We are seeing some Mercenary Cavalry getting built by Kimo at this point, as the Mercenary will be going after those. They pick off those Mercenary Cavalry very fast. The minions, I should say, go after the Mercenary Cavalry and pick them off very fast. So the town center of Kimo will fall. That's the defense of Kimo kind of going down the drain. There's so many resources in the bank for Kimo right now. He's got 1,500 gold. The siege towers will take down the armory and keep pushing forward here for Joe, as Kimo is going to have this this Migdol stronghold probably falling as well. So long as Joe is proactive here, goes after the Migdol stronghold first and doesn't bother with this siege works. He's still got another 15 seconds of this pressure to put on, and he is going after this. We've got a couple of villagers in the Migdol stronghold. Kimo's going to jump into this Migdol stronghold and then pop out to try and take down these siege towers. Does he have Skin of the Rhino? He does have Skin of the Rhino, so these villages will last for a little bit, but it is looking like Joe might have to retreat back. While this is happening, these minions did manage to pick up a couple of villager kills over in that corner here. But as the villagers are continuing to fight, Kimo is getting a lot of value taking these siege towers. Some more Mercenary Cavalry flooding in here for Joe. Joe's going to be pulling back 105 population for Kimo, 122 population for Joe. And Joe needs to start thinking about farms here, so he can't really afford these Mercenary Cavalry, and he will be pulling back. But one thing Joe could do is try and put up a Migdol stronghold in this area and just keep Kimo off of this town center, and he might be able to win some sort of attrition war here, given he has the population advantage. But Kimo is sending his Mercenary Cavalry forward here, and they are getting to the fight with about half their lifespan left, so they will be falling very, very quickly here. Meanwhile, Kimo's floating overhead with this rock, and it's looking like Joe just does not see it to save his life. Now he sees it. He turns that Pharaoh around, going to start hitting this location. We will be seeing a Locust over here. How many villagers does he kill? He picks off just a couple. Nice garrison there, saving 2 of those villagers. The rock does drop. The Pasuchos does come down, does get a villager killed before it's too late. But the Locust is done, and that is a big amount of damage there. Kimo's now ready to start pushing forward. He's got himself a ton of Chariot Archers over here, and we'll see if they're going to be able to get any raids. The walls are sort of set up for Joe. He doesn't have a wall over on this location just yet. We will be seeing that Pharaoh getting sniped here as well. Nice play from Kimo to recognize there's a Pharaoh there, and we'll see how that's going to be going. He does pull back. Nice job to save that one, as the Chariot archers can now start trying to take down enemy Chariot archers here. And the villagers going after this gate because they realize how annoying it's going to be. But you could just send a siege tower over there and take that out if you are worried. And now here comes the really, really big advantage of Ra over Isis. These Chariot archers have got nearly 20 more HP than the Isis players' Chariot archers. Nearly 20 more HP plus 0.5 more speed. Ra's got such a big advantage over Isis in terms of the Chariot Archer war. But what Joe has out right now that Kimo doesn't are siege towers. So you can definitely use these to your advantage here. We are seeing, well, oh god, you have to put your siege towers in front. It's super duper important to get those siege towers in front so that the Chariot Archers need to be microed in order to actually deal any damage. And there we go. You see the Chariot Archers here. Kimo's going to be doing some shoot and scoot micro, and he's actually doing it very, very nicely. He's picking off a lot of Chariot Archers here of Joe's, and Joe is actually really struggling to fight in on this location, and all of these Chariot Archers are finding their demise here, and we still haven't seen a range just yet, or have we? We still haven't seen a range just yet from Kimo, so that is very, very big for him. He's going to be able to get a lot of food income. The walls are almost set up over here for Kimo as he's ready to start thinking about setting up a trade route as well. Siege towers are going to be maneuvering around this forest, looking to take down the town center here. There's another Migdol stronghold coming up. I don't hate this Migdol stronghold, but I kind of would have liked to have it right here instead. So we're starting to see we've got heavy chariots now for Kimo. They will be doing so much damage here as he's pulling back. And these Chariot Archers here are actually doing quite nicely. We see the lumber camp getting taken out here. Nice little attack here from Kimo. Joe not noticing it. He could actually have pulled that Chariot Archer back, but now look at this. All these Chariot Archers are focusing siege towers. So if Joe can get his Chariot Archers to target his opponents, he's in a very, very good position. But he's not doing that. He's not getting any upgrades. He is going to be chucking up the monument to the soldiers here. Very nice. We see some Chariot Archers over here getting some pressure on. More walls coming up for Joe as he's trying to block Kimo's base in. We will be seeing these siege towers. And yet again, look at this. 16 DPS or 16 DPS worth of Chariot Archers here just going to waste. Instead of dealing the 9.35 DPS, they're doing 1 DPS to those siege towers. There's the rain for Kimo, and that's going to give him so much food. He does have a market up. It's a bit of a unfortunate position. He needs to have one in the corner, but he will be starting his trade route anyways while this rain is going on. And now Kimo is able to start moving out. He's spamming those mercenary cavalry out of here. We are seeing some elephant coming through for Joe, and now Joe's economy seems to be dwindling as the rain comes in. It's so much for Kimo. Joe does get a little bit on it, but he's only got 14 farms at this point, so a little bit behind on those, but he will get a little bit of value, so we'll see how that's going to go. And now the siege towers will be taking down Joe's Migdol stronghold. Nothing Joe can really do about it. He has brought some villagers over to try and take down Kimo's siege towers. They do a lot of damage here, but the Chariot Archers in the back will be able to snipe him down if Kimo micros a little bit. And let's check out the population for Kimo. It's 137 for Joe, 156 for Kimo. So he's in a very, very strong position here, as he is still, he's not really smacking this out too much, but we do see Thoth for Joe. So the meteor will come down immediately after this rain onto this location, and we'll see how much damage that will come through here. And I'm sure Kimo will be wanting to go through Osiris here. He is going through Osiris. We see sun-dried mud brick. I actually think that Osiris might not be the actual play, best optimal play here, whereas Horus going in with those upgraded spearmen, but I'm not sure it's going to matter too much here. But Joe is in the Mythic Age now, and the question is, what's he going to spend resources on? You can get this upgrade here, Book of Thoth, 360 wood, 30 favor. He can get this upgrade over here, the Valley of the Kings, which will allow him to basically spam elephants out of all of his Migdol strongholds. The Phoenix retreating away from the priest over here. as Joe is still spamming in onto this area. He's making some more siege towers. The fortified town center didn't really take all too much damage, but now we've opened up this location quite a bit for siege towers to move in onto it. So that's going to be nice for him. We see 3 siege towers, 4 siege towers onto this town center. Villagers trying to repair it, but it looks like this town center will possibly be going down as Kimo's counter-attacking onto the siege works here. It's not going to be quite enough. The villagers do get over here, but not fast enough. The Pharaoh was there, and if Joe has anything to think about, he will be right-clicking onto Kimo's Pharaoh. Nope, Pharaoh going to be retreating away from him. And we'll see a lot more damage ensuing here as Joe seemingly in the lead somehow, some way, throwing up multiple walls over on this location. Still hasn't really started a good trade route just yet. He needs to put that market in the corner. Instead, he's got this awful trade route, and obviously he's doing this just to get it started, and he's going to fix it up later, but he could fix it up right now if he really wanted to. We are seeing a Phoenix over on this location causing a little bit of chaos. We do see the priest, I should say, going to be causing preventing this from doing all too much. And there is the Son of Osiris through for Kimo. So this Son of Osiris is going to be a big help in this army. We see Joe's Chariot Archers moving forward, trying to take out the enemy Chariot Archers. He should be trying to take out the Son of Osiris. There is a siege tower very close to the Son of Osiris, so you keep that one close and you garrison inside of it completely fine. But now the Son of Osiris is going to be making a break for that Migdol stronghold. Drops in, drops out. And we see the mummy in as well. That's going to be a big help. But Joe, right now, so much struggling for resources. He's got nothing in the bank. He's got a lot of villagers out, but he's just really struggling to produce anything. We see the mummy coming in, going to start hitting these Chariot Archers. We've got 3 Migdol strongholds up here. 3 in one screen. But it's not going to be enough for him to produce if he's got no resources elsewhere, as the Son of Osiris is actually just going to town on these Chariot Archers of Joe, and Joe is struggling so much to compete here with what Kimo's doing. And in that moment, Joe does tap out as he realizes Kimo's Son of Osiris is just going to be too much for him to handle. And that is the game there, ladies and gentlemen. Kimo manages to hold, and just essentially this is what the Kimo Joe matchup looks like a lot of the time. And sometimes Joe manages to push through and win. Sometimes Kimo manages to hold. It's so very even here. But in this instance, Kimo gets the dub. If you guys enjoyed this game, please consider hitting the follow on the Twitch. If you're on the YouTubes, hit that subscribe button. I'll see you guys in the next game.